All right, we are live from New York, and we are continuing the misconception that Jews have about Judaism. We were up to misconception number 43. I'm gonna have to change some of the numbers, but number 43. So misconception number 43 is that when you ask someone, even a Jew, whether he is a body or soul, so I ask you, who are you? And the tendency is to say, oh, we are both. Even though there's some truth to that on some higher level, really, we have to understand that we are a soul. We're not a body. However, we are able to transform the body into soul-like type of power, meaning that in Olam Haba we'll have body and soul, but not body. When we think of body, we think this body. The thing is that this body is not the body that Adam HaRishon had. Right? It says it was a body made out of light, and therefore it will be a spiritual body. So there's the soul and there's the spiritual body, but this can only happen if we use this body to merge with the soul and to work with the soul. However, we are a soul. When I think of who I am, it's very important because you cannot make the right choice if you look at yourself, your body. The messages you're going to hear in you are going to be sometimes from the soul, sometimes from the body. But like my rabbi always say, whenever you have a big, deep question, like what is the meaning of life? I think those are questions from the soul. It's not from the body. The body is going to say, what type of cheesecake is that? Or, what does cheesecake with blueberries and whipped cream taste like? Okay, so that's not going to be a soul question, right? Obviously, I think we all understand why. And it's very important. The reason I bring it is because a lot of people think they are not happy, and the truth is that's because they identify with the body. If you identify with the soul, if you know you're a soul, then the soul is happy. The soul is happy. And because the natural state of the soul is a piece of God, so to speak, and therefore the soul has that inner wisdom and consciousness that God is everything, God is everywhere, and therefore I'm happy. I am with God, right? It's the body that filters what the soul feeling with Hashem. So the soul feels disconnected because the body creates a filter. But really, Hashem is here. Like Hashem is here. The only difference is, so if Hashem is here, why do we need Moshiach? Because Hashem is not revealed. So there's a difference with saying Hashem is here and Hashem is revealed. He's here in a concealed way. So he's not revealed. And that's what's hard for us. It's like the darkness really is light, but I experience it as darkness. So it's not light, but really darkness is light. It comes from light. It's creation from light. That's why I said darkness technically is even higher than light, because it's light, but it's a hidden light. So the challenge is that to understand that really I am a soul, and really I am happy, and really I am immortal. Are you scared of dying? Shouldn't be scared of dying, because you never die. You're a soul. If you think you're a body, then you're scared of dying, like, because that's it. But if you know you're immortal, you keep coming back, and right, or you go with Hashem or whatever. So you're a soul, and it never stops, unless obviously you're so bad that God decides to destroy your soul. But that's like 1% of the Roshaim, that's totally wicked. But otherwise, I understand I'm a soul, I'm holy, I'm pure, I'm happy, I am with Hashem. And the only reason I don't feel happy, and the only reason that I'm not thriving and shining, is because I identify more with the body and its desires than with my soul. So that's a problem. So we have to remove that misconception that I need things other than my soul to be happy. When people say, oh, once I'm married, I'll be happy. Once I have this job, I'll be happy. Once I have kids, I'll be happy. Once I have, this, I'll be happy. No, the happiness is just not something that is outside. Then I get it, and now I'm happy. The happiness is inside. That's where only place you can generate happiness is there. That's what, and so we need to not let our body confuse us that we're unhappy. Oh, you're very happy. Because if you are really doing God's will, which is living with God, which your soul technically lives with God, because the reality is God is everywhere. So technically you're really living with God. So if you're aware of that, and you don't let the body trick you into the illusion of this world, the physical world, then, meaning that Hashem is not here, is concealed, then you identify as a body. And so that's a very important thing for happiness, and it's a misconception that we do too often. So you're allowed to have desires, obviously, you're allowed to have dreams and things, but understanding that that's not the things that is going to make you happy. That's the things that is going to help you expand your happiness, perhaps, or expand fulfill your mission, or make you greater. But the moment you think in your mind that you need something else to be happy, right, then really you're not living with Hashem fully. Now, I'm saying that, as if, I'm there yet. We're all struggling with that. It's a lifetime work. But someone like Nahum Ish Gamzu, who say Gamzu Torah, right? This is good. Even the darkness is good, right? How can someone say the Holocaust is good? It's very hard. Nobody can say that. But the truth is, when Moshiach is come, when Moshiach is going to come, we're going to say, wow, the Holocaust was good. And nowadays it's unthinkable, and we're not on a level to say. That's why we have to be very careful not to say things when we're not there yet. To say, yeah, that's good. It's lacking understanding, is disrespecting, and it's not appreciating or having empathy for the pains of other people. So we have to be careful in the same time. Okay, so that's important. So the challenge with that, it's a misconception, but it's in a way a principle. And connected to that comes the misconception that the body is not important, or the physical is not important. Chas v'shalom. If it was not important, God would not have put the soul in the body. The body, the root of the body is higher than the soul in the spiritual world, because you have a body. If you think about a vessel that can contain your soul, right? high voltage. So you need something very powerful to be able to contain the soul and to filter it. So it has a tremendous power. That's your body. So the body is not just a piece of meat. It's a piece of meat without the soul. But if it's combined with the soul, then it becomes like a type of superpower. And that's something that that we need to really be aware and live by. But we have to embrace the physical and the material and understand that the secret is hidden within it. And if we do that, then we are able to merge the body and help it connect back to the soul. And that's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate.
So, Rabbi, how do you practice that? The foundation that the body and the soul are connected. Like, how could that be a practice for us to constantly kind of reconnect and to remind ourselves between that connection? Because of course, like with this material world, you get lost in that a lot, and you kind of question your purpose and things like that.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I would first of all recommend that you read a book. I think everybody should read that book. I've read it many times, and some with students. I actually thought of reading that book with you on the.
Oh, I read that book. Yeah, the Shabbaton. It's green, right?
Right, getting to know yourself.
Yes, I read that. Very good.
So that's the book that I think a lot of when we do that. I mean, there's also the book Getting to Know Your Soul, which is his second level, but I feel the first one, Getting to Know Yourself, gives you the foundations. It needs to be reread because it really gives you the essence of it. But if you want to go to the next level, he also wrote a book. So there's Getting to Know Your Soul, and then there's the book Bilvavi Mishkanene, Building a Sanctuary in My Heart, the first volume. It's in English, and it's very it tells you how to build yourself up and how to live with Hashem, and it gives you practical ways to do it. So that's in terms of reading, meaning the key will be. By the way, that's the book.
Oh yes, I think you gave that to me.
Oh,
yeah, I have to read that.
I gave you a thing. So
yeah,
it's a very good book. The more you, what I found for me, whenever I work on something, intensely, I try to read every day a little bit of it, and because you do it, it becomes like a part of almost a meditation, and you live with it. But I would ask myself, whenever I want something or I desire something, I would say, okay, why do I want that? Do I really think it's making me happy? Do I need that for my happiness? So we should almost get used to, have that habit of asking ourselves, why do I want what I want? Or you ask yourself, am I happy now? Okay, I don't feel really happy now. What it is that doesn't make me feel happy now? So I will think of all the things that I desire or I'm upset about or that bothers me, and say, okay, is that really a good reason not to be happy? Right? If I didn't have that desire for that, right, or if I didn't create the need for that thing, then would I be happy? And most of the time, you will be happy. And it's also a matter of perspective. For me, I tell myself, I like to be extreme, sometimes in my example of the way things, but if I don't have cancer, I'm happy. If I'm not in Auschwitz, I'm happy. So You tell me, yo, I don't have this, I don't have that. It's so little. It's in order to gain perspective. Happiness is really perspective. Is I don't have that, or I don't have that. You know, it's like, do you know what it means not to have something? You know what it means to be hungry. You know what it means to have nothing. You know, no shoes. So we're complaining about, because we're so used to a certain quality of life that it destroys our happiness for the most simple thing.
Right, it's like practicing gratitude. So when, you know, like I heard that, like, if you like replace a negative thought with like a gratitude thought or a positive thought, like you're actually like eliminating the negative from your thought process.
Absolutely.
Which I think is kind of like what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes. It's really part, like you say very well, it's part of gratitude. And the more we are grateful, the more you tap back into the root of your soul. We need to have gratitude all the time, and we need ideally to be singing all the time, just like Dodi. we need to sing. We need to express our happiness of everything that we have. And actually, there's a book that my rabbi got me. And I want this learning to be, I forgot to say at the beginning, Refuah Shlema for Dodi, Bas Shoshana, and for Hannah. Let me see, find out the name again.
Delia.
Hannah Bat Dalia.
Delia.
Delia.
I see.
I know you wrote it. I don't know where I can find it now. Okay, Hannah Bat Delia. It's Simcha also, no? Hannah Simcha. Ah, here. Oh, Hannah Bas Rachel Delia. And also for my Rebbe, Raharab Simcha Lev Yosef Gad Ezra Ben Shena Hannah. It's a bit longer. And also for Sigalit Bat Yafa. So for all those people, to all have Refuah Shlema, get the strength back, their energy back, and be able to shine again full force very soon. Okay, so the next thing is next misconception, misconception number 44, if I have the number correct, is there's a misconception that I'm not allowed to use contraception. So the truth is you're allowed to use contraceptions. I think at the beginning it was controversial because it was a new thing in the sense that we didn't have as many options as we have today. And what happens is that it's very possible that people kind of abused it, meaning according to halakha, a husband and wife are supposed to speak to the rabbi about having a child or refraining from having a child, because it's not just like we are here, right? There's the first mitzvah in the Torah, Puru. So there's a mitzvah to be fruitful and multiply. And we are here to make the world greater and make the world more complete. And part of our responsibility is to bring souls down, to download souls. But sometimes we don't look at it that way. I say, I want a child, I don't want a child, it's convenient, it's inconvenient. It has nothing to do with that. We're here to do God's will, and we're here to bring more life into the world. But obviously it has to be done in a responsible way. And if someone is not capable emotionally, physically, intellectually to take care of children, then you should not have more children. But sometimes we we're not honest with ourselves, or we're not actually, no, I won't say not honest with ourselves, we are not, we are being lazy, or we're getting in a comfort zone that is not appropriate. So for example, you say, instead of having my fourth child, I'm paying for, hundreds of thousands of dollars of tuition, and, or, for college, all that, and another apartment, another saving account. Oh, that's too much work. That's too much money. And say, I really want to spend that money to get, a Lamborghini, or, to go on vacation more often. So you choose a vacation or a car over a soul, right? That you can bring in this world. So that's sad. And that means you don't understand why you're here in the first place. So yes, it requires a lot of work and all that. But again, so that's what the discussion with the rabbi is about. Should I bring another soul, or am I not prepared yet to bring that other soul, that soul? So sometimes we are emotionally or physically not ready, and we have another child, and it creates a balagan, like they say. It's creating a depression. It's creating chaos in the house, and in these cases contraception is allowed. So we use contraception when it makes sense, when the woman or the couple is not ready to have another child, and sometimes it's better to also space out the children, for allowing each children to grow better. And so there's a whole debate, how soon after you have your child you should have another child. The mitzvah technically is to have a boy and a girl. Once you have a boy or a girl, everything is bonus, so to speak, but you have the mitzvah. So obviously the more soul you bring down, the better, but it's only better if you do it in a way that makes sense and that is healthy, intellectually, emotionally, physically. But so contraceptions are allowed. The only contraception that is not allowed is the condom, because basically the idea is that for the seeds to be elevated, even though when there's no children, or there's millions and millions of seeds, so even though the seeds are not, don't produce children, even with the other contraceptions, it still end up at the right place. It's like, you have like a synchronization between the physical and the spiritual world. So when the seeds arrive in the womb, that place elevates all those seeds to heaven. So that's why it's so important. And therefore contraception is allowed, but one needs to not abuse it, and to discuss it with one's rabbi, if it's if the couple is ready or not to have the next child. Okay, that was 40. Yeah, 40. That was 43, 44, 45. Am I allowed to learn something else than Torah? Yes. So there's a whole debate among the rabbis. And so some have the misconception that, if you're a Jew, you should only learn Torah, and only from Torah sources, and you cannot trust anything else. So what's their thing? Because the explanation is that you can only rely on Torah, only Torah is true, and that if you're going to be affected by the other things that you read, and it's going to twist the way you think, and you want to be able to think like Hashem wants you to think. And when you learn Torah, that's teach you how way to think. Plus, the Torah knows better because it's the blueprint of the world. Therefore, anything you want to understand is there. And it's true that really everything is in the Torah. The Vilna Gaon says that every little detail and event of every human being that happened, and every animal and every flower that happens from the beginning of time, Bereshit, until today, and until the end of, I guess, until Moshiach come at least, is inscribed in the Torah. It's encoded in the Torah. The Torah is the matrix, the DNA of everything there. All the information is there. So yes, technically, if we will be on the level, and I think that our rabbis agree that when Moshe is going to come, that's really, when we know Olam Haba, we're just going to learn the Torah. We're just going to understand things from the root. We're coming close to Hanukkah, so all the branches that come out represents, according to Rabbi Munk, the wisdom that come from the center pillar, right? So you have the external wisdom, and by the way, that's the reason we were fighting the Greeks, because the Greeks were all about that philosophy about we have wisdom. You don't need God's wisdom or the Torah wisdom. We have wisdom. So yes, so yesh chochma bagoyim, says the Talmud. The goyim have wisdom, but they don't have Torah. We are the protectors of the Torah, and the non-Jews, they have the wisdom, but the understanding that wisdom comes from the Torah. At least it's pure from its root. So the branches of the menorah represent that wisdom coming out in the world that really comes from the centerpiece, which is the Torah. But then the lights, the flames, if you've seen the pictures of the menorah of the Beis Hamikdash, it shows the flame going towards the center, because all those signs are here to illuminate the Torah. It's here to come in the world and to look. It looks like it's its own branch and it's independent, but no, really, it comes from the Torah, and it's here to bring even more light and even more glory to the center light, which is the Torah. So if one is on the level, technically he could learn everything from the Torah. Most people are not on that level, and therefore one is technically allowed to learn from other wisdom. However, there's a danger, and again, assimilation. It's like, oh, you learn science. Oh, the science says, we come from the monkeys. So again, there's a lot of science that is twisted, that is not completely accurate, and the science little by little is catching up to the truth, which is the Torah. So we have to be careful, meaning that yes, we can learn from the non-Jews. They have a lot great wisdom in many areas, in medicine and all that, and mathematics, and but at the end we have to understand it comes from the Torah. And we basically need to filter everything. Everything you learn that is not from the Torah needs to be filtered with the eyes of, of the Torah, with wisdom. Okay, this is what they say. Does it fit to the Torah concept, to the Torah foundations? So the beauty of that wisdom is that it's going to take a form that is not necessarily expressed in the Torah in that way, and that's its beauty. That's okay, as long as one knows its root. And by the way, that's probably the meaning of the few individuals who were Kohanim, why the Hashmonaim were Kohanim in the time of the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, where they were under the Hanukkah miracle with the oil, right? That they won. The Hashmonaim were fighting the Greeks. They went to war. And the idea is that they were representing the Torah. They were representing the Torah, and they're representing that energy, that pure energy. That's why it's represented by the oil. And they were fighting the Greeks, who represents the wisdom, the philosophy, the physical world, the beauty of the body, or the physical. And they were saying that no, the Hashmonaim are able to defeat that world. That if one is connected to Torah, one shouldn't be afraid to confront the physical world and to deal with physical world, because at the end, the oil separates itself from the water. That's why it's good to put always some water for protection also, so that the glass doesn't blow up. You put some water and then you put the oil for the candles. If you put, oil candles. So you have that concept sticking out. So that's the miracle of Hanukkah, is understanding that concept really. So I guess this misconception, so we are allowed to learn from other things than the Torah. Just like you're allowed to listen to classical music or to certain music. However, we need to filter. We have to be careful. Some stuff is not pure. Some chokhmah has been twisted and it's not pure. So we need to filter and be careful. But only someone who is rooted in Torah, meaning someone who is if we want to be able to filter, one needs to have a foundation in Torah, and one needs to be have guidance as to how to proceed about that, because there's a lot of confusing things out there. There are some opinions that say you should not learn anything, but that's more ultra-Orthodox by Hasidim or by the yeshiva world. They won't read a secular book or a book without a haskama of that. So that's not so much a misconception; it's more a different opinion. But there are so.
What is the idea behind? Oh, sorry. What is the idea behind like not having an iPhone or, I've seen some Hasidim that don't have.
Right. Well, the iPhone is more that it's connected to the internet. So the few Hasidim who have iPhone usually will remove the web browser or something like that. Or the problem is that once you have access, it's really the fact that it's connected to the internet and you can have images on it. As soon as you have images on the internet, then it's a potential threat, and therefore it's not. The main reason is really not to give more access to your Yetzirah, and stay away from anything that might lead you there, basically. So that's the main reason.
Okay, I see.
Obviously, you're gonna have some people who I cannot say that I've confirmed that with them, but I believe on some level it's true, because for some discussion that I had with Hasidim is like they don't want to be connected to too much technology, because they try to only use from the secular world, from technology, what they need to learn Torah and come close to Hashem. So, okay, so MP3, right, without the screen, so you use it just to listen to shiurim, so classes, so that's okay. But they're gonna be careful not to, like obviously like Amish, you stay as close as possible to the root, to the foundation, and anything that could be a distraction to what we need to do, which is mostly learn as much as possible, do mitzvahs as much as possible, then we should not use it. which is not necessarily the ideal way. It depends on what type of person we are. If we're a person that is from the soul of, the mission of Yaakov, that was part of Esav, meaning because Yaakov took the mission of Esav, so to deal with the physical world and to be involved in the workplace, and then one is going to need to use the physical world, and that becomes part of the mission. So we shouldn't get involved. We just need to be careful how to get involved. But that's one's mission. For the people who are from Yaakov's part, which is just focusing on finding the holiness in the learning, then yeah, and not having a iPhone is better, I guess. If it's going to distract you from being doing your work, your spiritual.
And where does the Mashiach come from? In terms of, are they connected? Whatever the Mashiach is, when he or she does come, and is it a connection between the physical and the spiritual world, or is it just connected to the spiritual world?
No. So when Moshiach is going to come, he's going to reveal how all the energy that we were looking for was hidden in the physical world. It's going to be the perfect harmony between physical and spiritual, body and soul, where neither the enemy nor the spiritual will be looked as the enemy. And that's connected to the male-female energy. The male is going to look to the female energy as as super powerful, and and not anymore as second-class citizen, or weaker being because it's more emotional. They're going to realize, just like Adam Arishon realized that part of Eve that he didn't see before, right? First he called her Isha, only after he called her Chava. So only after he realized who she really is, there's a type of it's just only after that he realized that. So there's going to be a type of harmony there, of recognizing the greatness of the other. So yeah, we're going to be perfect harmony between physical and spiritual. But the physical is going to be completely transformed and elevated through the spirituality. So even the physical that we're going to have is going to be on a much higher level, but it's going to exist. Exactly in what form, I don't know, but there's definitely going to be a physical or material component to it. It says in Olam Haba is body and soul. Again, not necessarily body of flesh, but body of soul. So it's something, your body of flesh, at least, if you think of the highest level of a being, of a physical or materiality transforming into holiness, whatever that is, that would be our thing. But it's going to be progressive, right? It's going to be, because there's 7,000, 7th millennium, 8th millennium, 9th millennium, 10th millennium. So there's going to be an evolution, not from monkey to man, but from man to Adam. To Adam. So I think we're going to stop here for the misconception. I would just like to finish saying that, because I think it's important to be aware, to think of Moshiach, and there's a lot of chance that there's a lot of energy in the world this year that can be released and experienced, and we can, according to the Zohar, as I've heard it already from a few rabbis, there might be a World War III. Hopefully, we won't have to go that way. But if there's a World War III, you know, if there's a World War III, it's probably with China. There's a lot of text, and maybe one day we'll speak about the text that clearly indicates that what's happening today is that with the inflation, with the plague, with the war, with the potential war with China, and we'll see. We have to be ready mentally. The key is not to be afraid, and to be ready for anything. But understanding, the most important part is understanding that everything is part of a process, and that we're giving birth. We're giving birth to Moshiach, and we need to be conscious of it. We need to be praying for it. We need to want it, to desire it, to really desire to be close to God. And what's going to protect us the most is our work on our relationships, fixing the love relationships, and working on our one's character traits. These are going to protect us much more than the mitzvahs themselves. It's the one who is pure of heart, as opposed to the one who has the most mitzvot, who is going to be saved. Not necessarily a question of being saved at the end, because at the end we're all going to be here at the end, but who is going to survive that stage of the revelation of Moshiach, and more important, the revelation of the Shekhinah, of Hashem's presence in the world. We have to be conscious of it, pray for it, expect Hashem's, showing up any moment, and the more we're ready, the more prepared we are, the more conscious we are, the more we will be able to handle anything that might come this year. So I wish you all an awesome week. Shabbat Shalom. I mean, hopefully Thursday night, for Thanksgiving, we're going to thank God by learning a little bit more. And
yes, definitely. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Rabbi, are we going to have class on Hanukkah next week or no?
Well, I'm planning to do Thursday night the class, hopefully, for Thanksgiving. And
This week?
Yeah, this week again.
With turkey and everything?
Yes, turkey class. And I gotta thank God for giving me such great students like you. So it's worth a class. And and next week also Bezat Hashem during Hanukkah also.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful night. Thank you.
You too. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Take care.